In many ways, the Southwest is a cultural crossroads, and the arts provide our map. Our next guests, vocalist Solvei and percussionist Will Klipman, play in the intersections, blending traditions to transcend boundaries. Solvei hails from Norway, with strong Latin, Native American, and Scottish roots. She is a household name in her own country, as well as in the Los Angeles music scene, her home since 2000. Solvei writes her own material and has produced 8 best-selling albums released on her own label, Royal Dancer Music. Will Klipman began playing his father's drums and his mother's piano at the age of 3 and has since mastered more than 100 percussion instruments. He is a Grammy nominee and a Tammy Award winner and has been inducted into the Tucson Musicians Museum. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Solvei, tell us about how you got into the music business. I understand that there were other performing arts that you engaged in before music.
Yes, I was a professional dancer, and I was in that field for about 8 years, and then my ankles gave out. It's a very tough life, and I had to do something else. And I grew up in a household of singers. Both my father and my mother were opera singers, so I grew up in the opera house. And it was a natural thing to kind of lead into singing, but not opera. I was very taken by jazz and world music, and growing up I heard all types of music, and it influenced me. So when I couldn't dance anymore, it was kind of a natural segue to go into singing.
So tell me how, Will, how did you meet Solvei and how did you begin working with her?
We met about 4 years ago in the context of a music licensing agreement and decided it would be a great idea to try to collaborate. So Solvei came to Tucson and we ended up doing an album together called Worlds Within, a vocal and percussion duo album. And from that, we continued to collaborate and do some shows together. And she began doing a show called Passion in LA. And at a certain point, just evolved beyond the band that she was working with there and asked me to recruit the best musicians in Tucson, which I subsequently did.
Will and I have a natural, intuitive energy between us, and the voice and the drum are this is very ancient sound, and because we started in a very improvisational way, it really developed into a very in-tune kind of collaboration where we're very comfortable with each other.
So, Will, tell me a little bit about how is Zuma Soul and how is a collaboration with Solvei different than other musical collaborations that you've been involved with, which are many?
Well, the music is different in that it covers a very broad palette of world music, jazz, Latin influenced things, and Solvei's original kind of trance groove compositions. And it's also different in that these musicians have never worked together as an ensemble, and I'm really thrilled to be working with Larry and Fernando for the first time. Amo and I have a lot of history, so that was a very comfortable connection as a rhythm section. But it's just a very fresh approach, and of course Solvei is kind of a force of nature, so that's new and fun.
So you talked about world Latin jazz. Solvei, how would you describe or categorize your music? Is it all of those? Is it none of those? Is it a combination?
It is all of it. And you know, in today's music business, you're kind of forced into categorizing things. And my music is not in a particular category. That's why stations like NPR, KPFK, all these different stations are wonderful to my music because they're willing to do things outside of the commercial square box. And I really just draw from an incredible love for the Latin rhythms, and I'm very fascinated by the Arabic, Spanish combination. And the native music is always like a deep, deep anchor in me. And I draw from it, from everything. It's just, I wouldn't categorize it.
Can you tell us a little bit about projects that you're working on now?
Well, right now we've been very busy getting this Solvei and Zuma Soul up and running, which I'm very excited about. I also have a trio in Norway that I work with, that I sometimes tour with as a guest artist, and we go to Paris, we go to Rome, and we do different things also in Norway when I'm there. I've been working on an album, excuse my English sometimes, called Ancient Voices, which has been recorded different places. And it mixes the Norwegian traditional sounds with drums, different drummer, and those are the projects that I'm focusing on at this very moment.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining me for an interview, and Solvei and Zuma Soul will perform for us later in the show.